I remember one time you told me to read a passage in John 18, and you're just like, it's so easily to gloss over it.
The Garden of Gethsemane?
Yeah. Judas came to the garden, guiding a detachment of soldiers and some officials from the chief priests. Jesus, knowing all that was going to happen to him, went out and asked them, "Who is it that you want?" They replied, "Jesus of Nazareth." And right here, and Jesus replied, "I am he." When Jesus said, "I am he," they drew back and fell to the ground. But that part, and it's so easily to gloss over. When Jesus said in verse 6, "I am he," they drew back and fell to the ground. I did another layer of digging on that. What I found when he says, "I am he," the Greek translation of that "I am," if I'm mispronouncing it, but it's ego Eimi, which translates "I am." This is the name of Almighty God that, man, they did not invoke. So when Jesus invokes the name "I am," he's invoking Ego Eimi. Why they fall over, they're almost stunned and they fall to the ground, the scriptures say. Now I found out another area where he uses it. Mm-hmm. And it so happens to be chapters before, where he tells the disciples to go out into the water and I'll meet you on the other side, pretty much. And they're getting tossed and turned with winds and waves, and they see someone walking towards them in the water. One of the disciples says it's a ghost, doesn't recognize, and Peter recognizes that it's Jesus and says, "Lord, if it is you, call me and I will come to you." And Jesus says, "I am he," or he invokes it. Jesus invokes the name Ego Eimi, the translation of God's name, "I am," in that moment. And what does Peter do? Peter does the unthinkable. He puts one foot out of the boat and begins to walk towards Jesus, doing the extraordinary, walking on water. The invoking of the name "I am," what it does to someone who is not in alignment, like the soldiers and the guards, they fall over to the ground. Mm-hmm. What it does for a believer who has his gazes on Christ and that name is invoked, you can do the extraordinary. If you don't take your eyes off me. You can do so much, and I want you to do so much.